whole lot of books that you can read, and there are a whole lot of books that can help out your life tremendously. But there is one book that has helped me more than any of the others that I have read, and it's a book that I keep coming back to that I don't talk about enough, and here's an excuse to talk about it. So we're going to talk about Walden today. We're going to talk about the important lesson and why you need to read it. First off, Walden is one of the most famous pieces of American literature ever. It was written by Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau really didn't write much. I'm sure he has journals. I'm sure that's published somewhere. But he's most well known for an essay called Civil Disobedience and Walden. Civil Disobedience inspired both Gandhi, Tolstoy, and Martin Luther King Jr. Very much an inspiration from letters from a Birmingham jail. But yeah, very, very, like, at the very least, he's had a great influence on those sorts of things. But Walden is a book essentially about Henry David Thoreau going out to live in the woods for 2 years, 3 months, and 2 days, something like that. I can't remember the exact time frame. It doesn't matter. But what Thoreau found through his experience through going out into the woods was a real surprise to, I'm assuming, him and to the generations upon generations that have read this book and have been inspired by this book. And, you know, it's really a mix of philosophy with a journal with kind of a guy farming potatoes. Like, it's the weirdest book because it's not like anything else you've ever read. And it's very interesting because this book was inspired and in fact published just for the sake of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who was Henry David Thoreau's mentor, who leased the land to Henry David Thoreau so that he could build his cabin. And Emerson was really the reason that he pushed this to be published. And I'm eternally grateful for Emerson because he's one of my favorite writers and two, the reason that we got this great book. But now we talk about what Thoreau learned, because you can read this book and you can get the novel experience of what happens when we slow life down, what happens when we get away from things, what happens when we get away from the hustle bustle and the need to compete and the need to do all sorts of these things. But the greatest lesson that this book will teach you is that gratitude is everything. Really, this is the whole essential experience that Thoreau gets. He slows his life down. He only has a few possessions. He really doesn't have that much money, but he's able to subsist. He's able to buy the tools. He's able to build a cabin. He has a few chairs for when people visit him. And overall, the thing that you will learn from this book is that when you can simplify your life, then you have found the purpose and the meaning that you're looking for, because it's not the abundance of things that we have that make us happy, but it's the things that we have and the things that we appreciate that make us happy. You know, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have a cabinet full of food? Do you have a car that gets you to and from work? Do you have the little things that you need to survive? And you know what? Maybe you don't have these things. Maybe you're not blessed with these things. But we always have more than someone else. You know, you if you really want to be very appreciative, look to someone that doesn't have feet, and then think about, you know what? At least I can walk. Like, you can always do that. You always have something else that somebody else doesn't have, and you know, it's very unfortunate that we have to go down to those levels to compare ourselves to people that are very unfortunate. But it's just the truth, and it's like, at the very least, you have life. At the very least, you have breath. And there are millions, if not billions, if not trillions of people that have died and died with unfulfilled dreams, and you still have the opportunity to chase yours. And that's really what we need to start thinking about. We need to start expressing gratitude. We need to start understanding that you have the things that people would die for. And we need to express gratitude as much as possible. We need to understand that we have blessings. We need to understand that we have advantages. We have things that other people don't have. And we get in so much in the hustle bustle of things. We have this need to go out and buy the new fancy car, go out and buy the home, buy all these things, you know, develop your career so that you can have more money, so that you can flex on the people that didn't like you, that you don't like, that you need to prove something to for some weird reason. And when we slow life down to the essential things, when we break our life down to the things that really matter, that's where we find purpose. That's where we find meaning. That's where we find contentment. We are not seeking money. We are not seeking fame. We are seeking self-acceptance, and that all comes from when you don't need to chase someone else's paradigm. So I really urge you to read this book. I really urge you to go through this thing and understand that one of the greatest lessons you will ever learn is simply just gratitude. And if you need a real kick in the butt, if you need someone to tell you how to express gratitude, here I am to do it. What I want you to do is, the next time you're in a bad mood, or even right now, or even before you go to bed, whatever it is, just find time today to write down 10 things that you have that someone else might not have. It could be something so simple as, I have a laptop, I have a camera, I have a ring light, I have a phone, I have food, I have a microphone that I'm not currently using, I have thousands of books behind me. Like I just gave you a few things that I'm very gracious for, but how often do we think about the good things in our life? How often do we take time to thank the heavens, thank whatever fate, whatever it is that you believe? How often do we appreciate things versus how often do we break ourselves down? How often do we destroy our own just sense of happiness just for the sake of feeling inferior? And imagine if you spent as much time expressing gratitude as you do as expressing negativity. Where would you be? Yeah, that's the one book I think you need to read. Hopefully I did a good job of suggesting one book. I think this is one of my favorite books I've ever read, and I think the lesson is very, very important for absolutely everyone in this world. And that's it. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.